We're back again for another game jam from GAMA 2025. I hopefully am at least partially in this shot. Guerrilla marketing, I love it. I'm here with Unai Andres.
Unai Miguel Andres.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, that's okay.
And I should have done that beforehand, but we're going to game jam. So, Unai, start our timer.
Perfect.
It started. It's beginning. All right. So we got some elements on the table, but what we don't have to use them, but we can. What do you want to make a game about, or what do you want to kind of mechanics do you want to use? Ooh. It doesn't have to be this stuff, but I have this stuff.
I am really prone to dice. Dice really.
All right. Well, we got that's the standard set of polyhedrals for the.
And I'm a weirdo.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like the D10s the most.
Okay.
I think they're not utilized enough. And I think there's something about having 100 possibilities, but also being able to cut it to 10 if the mechanic requires it.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. So potentially doing. Okay, I like that. Like I'm thinking D10. Like not that we would have time to write a bunch of lists, but like a D10 pick list or whatever, and then that generates some stuff, and then you're rolling percentile to see how that stuff comes out in the actual event.
Exactly. And even you could break it down later on in that you start a step maybe with the tens, so whether it's 10 to 100, in those breakdowns, and then at a certain stage you might have to do just within that tier, 1 to 9, 0 to 9.
Yeah. Okay.
Could be a stages. I don't know. That's something that I think there's a lot of things that we miss on game-wise.
Yeah.
Because you either do a percentage table or just do a 10 table, but you don't do something that is stage-wise. So kind of like a pathway. So it gives you a lot of different avenues in a game.
Yeah. I like this idea of sort of nested something. So what kind of theme would we bring into that? Would it be sort of like a sort of I'm almost thinking first thought, best thought, go with it. It's are you familiar with those spy stories where you've got the suppressed personality put into your brain, and then you go and do your mission and you don't even know that you're really the spy, you're just doing the thing. So what if those are the nested things where there's 10 possibilities within each nested personality or something like that?
I actually love that idea. One of my favorite kind of games are actually social deduction games, but where the players don't even know who they are.
Okay. So then that makes me think of that game where you write it's like a party game where you write a famous person's name on, and you have it on a hat, and you don't know who you are, and you have to ask. People keep telling you stuff about yourself, and you're trying to figure out who you are.
Yes.
All right. So are we doing something like that where there's other people know who you are, but you don't know who you are?
But they could be a second person behind it.
Right.
So if you don't figure out, then you change personalities, you change bodies into someone that nobody else knows because maybe it flips.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Almost like a booklet or something like that, where you're you have to figure out who gets who. Okay, I like this. Is wild. I like this. I
like it because coming from Tabletop Gaymers perspective, also that could also talk about different gender fluidity and gender identities and sexuality, how everything changes and shifts it.
Yeah.
But same with personalities.
Would you then? We talked about generating a list, but would it be some of if you have blank cards, you get to write on them, but then it's also sort of other people are giving you roles that then you either accept or don't accept, that you know, I don't know, that maybe that's sort of changing from what we originally talked about, but the idea that I will incorporate that into my personality, and you add it to your display. Maybe it's not a hat, but it's a display in front of you, and you've put cards that are you, and they're facing you, so you know those things. But then there may be other cards that other people have put,
modifiers.
I
like it. So some of those other games where you have competition of trying to do a trolley problem question. They're oh, you try to save this person, but this person is evil in this way, and it's good in this way. And it's oh, but it's good in these, or you can shift it. So you could change different dimensions of the persona.
Yeah.
Oh, something about who you are, and that who you are could be as simple as you're a person, a job, but then you have facets that go into your life. Yeah. And you could do it also, thinking from a gamer's perspective, that mechanic could also have different themes, right? So you could do one that is adventure perspective, what is your background as a person, as a human in this
Yeah.
world? Or you could do a sci-fi version of all of these.
Right. Where
Like-
where your job is probably going to be much more important than it would be if you're doing like a
Oh my god! So the 100 percentage could actually determine the priorities of the game.
So anytime you take a roll or give a roll, you roll a percentile to see, and then that shuffles into the order of like,
Or you-
suddenly this is much more important now that I've been given this assignment by society or
Yeah.
whatever. This is, but then like, okay, so we've got like sort of some mechanics, we've got some sort of interesting interactions possible. Is that just the story? It's the story of these people discovering themselves is the game, or now do these people with all these like competing priorities then have to accomplish something? Like is there more to it, or is it just an self-exploration kind of exercise?
You could have two completely different games with these. Either way, I actually like both. I like the aspects of the self-exploration aspect of it, but also how, now that you identify who you are, how you work together through a team challenge.
I like that
How
more.
different people can actually collaborate with different
Yeah,
perspectives
yeah.
and solve a problem.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a classic heist sort of introduction scene where like you're like, oh well, I'm, the tech wizard, which is why I'm on this heist, because like now I'm going to insert myself into this situation because now we have a tech problem and that's why I'm here, But like using something like that, but like.
And you don't know what the problem is at the beginning, and that's what the last roll is. And maybe you create a super strong group of individuals and personalities that they are like
And now
brawls.
you have to win a bake-off.
Exactly. It's like, oh, nobody had that trait or that thought or that personality or that skill.
Yeah.
And then you have to figure out how to advance that challenge.
Right. Okay. So I like this as a thing, and then that's one of the tables. So let's say 10s and 10. So there's 10 sort of stages maybe. When the last one is like, and what are you trying to accomplish? Maybe the first one is like just sort of a scene setting thing, like where are we? We're at a commerce pavilion. We are at a business meeting. We are at a park. And that sort of establishes or invites, I guess, the players to whether they fit in there or not. And then the 8 in the middle are sort of progressive opportunities for. That's the exchanging of the cards, perhaps, where you pick some yourself and you also assign some.
I love it. I actually like that idea a lot. Like to start with that, like I would actually for being even more broad, like the setting, I would start with the topic of the setting is this fantasy real world adventure, and then you go into within these you have a subset of cards that you go through depending on what you chose. Like these are my smaller cards. So if in the first roll I'm gonna just generalize this. You have like fantasy, then you have the decks related to fantasy for option 2. But someone can come from a different world, which is a science fiction, and they have these other possibilities.
Yeah.
And then then the other ones are more common, like personality and other things.
Yeah. All right. I mean, these are all good ideas. I like everything that we're talking about here. It's pretty good.
I'm really crazy about these things. Like I'm thinking what I would like, because you can have a really fun game. Again, all with cards at this point. Simple to carry around, good party game, but also a game that could lead to conversations.
Yeah.
Which I feel that we're missing a lot in nowadays. Like it's hard to find a game where it's either a game that is just about deep conversations or a game that is party, but there's nothing that allows you to take either avenue.
Right. Party game is sort of like almost a bad word because it invites you to just be sort of unhinged and silly and not very serious. But I mean, when I have my friends over and have a party, like we're not running around screaming and like standing on one leg. We're talking to each other, right?
Yes, and you start with, oh, this is what happened today, blah blah blah, and then suddenly you take a turn into other specific conversation topic that's going on, and then you end up trying to reach a consensus to help someone else. Well, what to do next in the party, in the gathering, the game night?
So then that like final thing, that final mission thing, maybe is well, you said sci-fi and I said spy and stuff like that, but maybe that last thing is like the list of things is like, and then you have to talk about your sick parent, and then you have to talk about your, you've almost you don't want to bait and switch a player with what kind of game it is, but like if you wanted to play with the serious deck, maybe. If it's a bunch of optional decks, like you take almost like the Dominion, right, where you
Yes.
have the deck builder, where you set out your marketplace, right? But so like, okay, these are the decks that we're going to have, and the last mission, the last card where we actually find out what we're here to do, is to have a serious conversation, is like a deck for the serious conversations.
I love this idea because
Yeah.
it could be really versatile game,
Yeah.
and it allows for this. Like, you know, today I really don't have the mental capacity to talk about anything serious. Like, I'm drained. I just want something more silly.
Yeah.
So
We'll
let's
put out
do the
only the silly
day.
decks, and then it is going to be Bake Off, Fight Godzilla,
Exactly.
try and date Superman, all of the different like just wild things that you could do. It's all pretty good. It's all pretty good.
Like,
How much more time do we have? Like,
We
are
have
we-
4
minutes?
minutes
Oh,
left. Yeah.
we don't even need 15 minutes.
Yes.
All
One word,
right.
yeah,
Do we want to
just
try? Okay. So, do we want to? If we have this time left, do we want to try and make some of these lists, or do we want to? We've talked about what they could be. Do we want to try and name each of the, say 10 steps in the process? Do we want to name all 10 of them? I think. Or
Well,
do we
let's try
want
to create some of them at least on the
Yeah.
stages. So
So you're talking about 10 as sort of the setting.
yes.
Setting is one, and we talked about 10 being the sort of mission, but I'm going to put that in quotes because it could be a conversation, could
Correct.
be the mission,
Yeah.
and
So I think crazy. I don't know the order, but things
Yeah,
that come
yeah.
to mind. Like one is about self-perspective. So who you are internally.
yeah, absolutely.
Introspective, maybe whatever you call it.
What I'm writing down is self-knowledge.
Perfect. Where then you could have the society imposed role, which is like your job or what you
Right,
do or
right,
what is
right.
your societal role.
Societal role, I like that.
Then your intrapersonal relationship. So what is your unofficial role within your inner circle?
Yeah,
which
you're
could be
the-
within here.
You're
Like,
the mom friend, or you're the the workout bud.
correct.
or
So
like
my
whatever.
self-perspective is how I identify the societal role is like, you're a stay-at-home mom, but for this group, you're actually the leader. You are
Yeah.
the social, like the listener of the group. Or like,
social role. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I like that. That's good.
and then
I think there's some sort of like other labels, maybe more light, sort of like not because like almost like
Yeah.
not quite how you present yourself, but like if somebody passed me on the street and they what might they assign to me because I've got long hair and
So actually, these ones could be both from the self perspective, but also what someone else assigns you, and then would be
Yeah.
the other steps.
right.
Like,
So we
yeah,
could
just
repeat
like-
some of these.
yes,
so you
right.
get to pick your own stuff, but then also
Someone else gives you that.
Someone else gives you that. All those same things. Or so that's
Yeah, right. Like how you see yourself, how someone perceives you to be,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you can have silly stuff as well. Like, what is the challenge or handicap that happened in any category?
Yeah. All right. I like. I'm gonna repeat here,
Yes.
and then a challenge
Yes.
is also sort of. I think that is sort of like. I mean, that could almost be your other. If there's 3 that we came up with, the challenge could still be that sort of internal, external. Like, what do you struggle with,
Perfect.
and then what do other people notice about? They think you must struggle because of what they perceive externally
Yeah.
about you, but that's just your life, and you get by.
Yeah.
Like.
And that would be 10 categories.
That would
all
be
together.
10. That would be 10. Both. So like 8, the 4 that are internal and external both. And
Yep.
so are you, and then each of those is 10 things. So then, okay, so then what would the, now the order, what order would we assign those in? How do you reveal, because I really like the idea that like some of the more personal ones are assigned later, because then you can define them in opposition to what people have already said about you. But it's also good to have them as internal stuff defined sort of first.
I think the self-perception of your own, it should be the first thing you do, and you do not reveal it until the end.
Yeah. Okay, so that's number 2.
Yeah.
That's number 2.
And then you can have the self-perception for others, could be at the end. So they're like, well, because now I got to know each other, and I feel comfortable to tell you this. I thought you were.
External perception. Okay, and then I think the personal challenge one is sort of the other one that would that maybe that comes third.
Yes.
So that like you have, or maybe that's the maybe the external definition comes, because I kind of feel like alternating between what your internal definitions of yourself and what other people put on you. So I think maybe the identifier of other people, what other people think you struggle with, comes third in the list.
Yeah.
And then
then you can reveal your personal challenge. You really before people tell you what you thought you were.
do you want to do them in total reverse order,
That would be good.
like mirror image kind of thing?
I think that would be good.
Okay. All right. So
We're out of time.
we're out of time, and I think we obviously have not designed the complete
Yeah.
game, but we've got this sort of like 10 steps of revealing each other to each other and having the thing, and then that's almost like 75% of the game, and then you do like one conversation about like what you actually did for the day. All right, I know I don't have a lot of space on the drive here, so very quickly, I think we've talked a little bit about what excites us about this game already. I want to give enough time to you to talk about what you're here for, who you are, what you do, and why you're at GAMA.
Perfect. So, Unai Miguel Andres, I am with Tabletop Gaymers, GAYMER, a national nonprofit that champions the visibility of queer individuals through tabletop gaming, and I'm here to kind of provide support to retailers, publishers, and hear about distributors as well to try to make things more inclusive, especially within the queer community, but overall. So we had our Safe Space program, which is specifically for retailers to kind of help them be a safe space for individuals that attend, but also try to advertise an option that we have within it to get the retailer kit at a much lower price in exchange for them raising money for local nonprofits that are DI related to kind of nowadays have a snowball effect.
Yeah, there's a lot that Tabletop Gamers does. There's a lot. There's a lot.
I know, so it's hard. Like, we had a presentation on Monday more about who we are and what we do. So it was kind of a little bit to say, hey, you guys have conventions, but doing these visibility ribbons, that's how we started, but they're much more to us, right?
Yeah.
Especially and it's hard to do as a fully volunteer-run organization. And then I'm also here because, and I'm involved with this organization, my day job, I'm a health equity researcher. So I actually try to always advocate for a community engagement perspective about what individuals want and listen to. So for me, coming to this convention is about talking with people and hear what their challenges are, what they want to do, so we can try to have new programs or evolve them what they are and see what are we missing in the picture. So, and that's why I'm here at GAMA Expo.
There you go. And where can people find Tabletop Gamers on the internet?
So you can find us at tabletopgamers.org in our website, Tabletop Gamers in Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, all the social media. And we also have a Discord community if you want to meet other gamers and allies alike to play board games with or just chat about.
And are you like a charitable, like can people just give you money, or do they participate in the programs?
They can do both. So we have 501c3 and a federal nonprofit organizations since 2015.